Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Penosofsky's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub food. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app.
Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stained? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. Lindsay Vanderwall Photography offers natural light photography for any occasion. With over 10 years of experience in the industry, we promise you professionalism and quality photography always. Affordable pricing for weddings, sports, family, and senior sessions. Contact today to book. Welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. This is going to be the best of part 2. And if you missed out on last week's podcast, it was the best of part 1. Our first 7 guests that I've had on since March when we first started the podcast. So, we told funny stories. They were all hand selected by yours truly. And guys, I can't wait to see the next 7 come up for you. So without further ado, here's part 2 of the best of the Goblay Show. Enjoy. I do remember, like I said, that your sophomore year, but your first championship year. I felt like you guys just y'all had the reins. Like you were just going through there and kind of, it was just different.
It's like how Oklahoma is now.
Right now. Yeah.
It's hard. It's going to, nobody's really going to beat them.
Right.
It's going to be
they're
a fight.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So your first championship. Let's just take us through, because a lot of people, they'll watch it on TV, but they don't really know they don't know the behind the scenes deal. Like, you have any funny stories or anything you can share about the championship? What was the mood? What was the tone in the locker room? Like, what was, like, did you guys feel like, hey, we got this? We don't, did you feel like you didn't have to worry about anything, or were you guys like, oh man, this is, y'all might not have shown it, but did you feel like deep down you're like, this could be a game, like for the championship?
No, I don't think so. So we would play. So the first game of the World Series is the most important,
right?
You would think the championship is, but it's that first game, because if you lose that first game, there's pretty much no coming back from it. The only team to do it, or the first team to do it since 1970, was FSU, and that was 2018, I think.
Gotcha.
And it's never been done. So to win that first game is, critical. And we did,
right.
And we steamrolled the team, like we said. So going into, before, games are at 7 p.m. So you have all day,
right,
just to do nothing pretty much.
Right.
We would do morning hitting just to loosen up our body so we're not sitting. So, we would go down, not to the field, but to a different facility. We would hit, but in the mornings we would go for team walks. And so in Oklahoma City, there's this water, not lake, but river. Mm-hmm. And I remember my strength coach, I remember pushing him into the into the river as a joke. We were really close, and then we won. Then I ended up having to push him again. I had to push him every day because we're very superstitious.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got in your head psychological.
Yeah. So softball and baseball are very superstitious. I would put my sleeves on. I would put my socks on.
Football is too.
They are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would put everything on the exact same way. If we did something like pushing into this lake that was disgusting, or river that was so gross. but like he was the same way. Like we had to do it for the good of the game.
Yeah.
So
you wanted that the good juju kind of doing bad juju. Yeah.
So we would do that, and then so we would loosen up our bodies, go hit. We would call it early hitting, and then get ready for game time. But going into the locker room, it's amazing when you ride in on your bus to this World Series and you're getting off the bus and they're just recording you. And you feel like a superstar. It's pretty awesome. And then you're walking up to the fields to, take your BP and all of that. And then you go into the locker rooms and you're able to watch the games that are on before you and kind of be shocked at what, if somebody, is winning or somebody's losing. It's kind of like a dream. It's to even think about, like when I think back to it.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
When you said rock stars, they pamper you guys pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which they're even pampered even more now.
Well, I mean, you should because you're in the championship. I mean, you did a lot to get there. I mean, it's not like it's
now they charter everywhere. So because the baseball team can charter their flights, now the softball team gets to charter. But when I was there, we were flying. Like just regular flights. So we would have to get there 3 hours early. I would have to carry, so you would have your suitcase and your softball stuff. And then you also have like a job. So like if you were on buckets, you have buckets of softballs.
Gotcha. Oh my gosh.
Yes, to take through the airport.
Through TSA.
Yes.
Wow.
So you should have seen my 120-pound self because I was on equipment bag. So I had my softball bag with my clothes bag and then the equipment bag, all 3 bags trying to go up the escalators. And
wow.
But now they just get a charter and everybody puts their stuff on the charter plane and you don't have to get there early and
now they got people for that.
Right. I always say that we funded this, but we did it.
Y'all paved the way.
Yes.
No, I mean that's crazy though. You got to go through the airport security as the equipment manager and your own stuff. You needed a sky cap just to get to the plane with all your luggage.
I worked out a deal after my freshman year, my sophomore, junior, and senior that I was on snacks.
I can do snacks now.
So you just have because the snacks you don't have to take through the airport.
Right, you can just put them in your bag.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you buy the snacks at the field.
I like it.
Like
that's
at
smart.
Sam's, they go to Sam's before the games when we get to places. So
I like it. That's so funny.
Yeah.
You're like, I got snacks.
Yeah,
guys.
they always said that I was Coach Walton's favorite. That was why I.
That's why you got snacks.
Yeah, and then my senior year, he ended up saying, "Yeah, she was my favorite."
Just want to confirm that. Yes.
And all of my whole class was like, "I knew it."
So, you that first championship. Tell me how that moment felt when that last out was there and you guys dogpiled each other on top of that.
And that was a good dog pile.
Oh my gosh. I saw you come out. I'm like, just kind of like.
You have to like stitch a picture of that in this because it was a monster
crazy
dog pile. I was just flying through there. I headbutted somebody in midair.
But you didn't care. You're like, no, I don't even care.
Yeah. That moment was so Heather Braswell, she was through this foundation that Francesca Nea, that person who I mentioned in the 2008-2009, she started it, and Heather had brain cancer, and so she,
I was gonna go ahead. I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, so she had kind of went to remission, and then it came back, and then so during that 2014, things it took a turn for the worst. Right. So she ended up being terminal, and then she ended up passing away that year. I think like 2 months before that, and her mom was at every game. They were at every home game, and they're hardcore Seminole fans.
Oh, wow.
So for them to be her to be adopted by a Gator team, it was pretty cool. And so she was there, and I just remember that was like when Snapchat started to be big, Snapchatting Heather, and one of her favorites was always Lauren Hager, because Lauren was, she was funny, and she always knows how to make somebody feel loved and special. That's just who Lauren was or is. But but yeah, so she ended up passing away, and then we went to her funeral and everything. It was just like a big impact on that whole 2014 squad.
Right.
Just that year was just special, not just softball wise,
Right.
because like our softball team was gelling. We did great in the postseason, but just like that was, I think, probably one of the biggest impacts, because nobody, I hadn't came in contact with anything that heavy, I guess you would call it.
Right.
Something that's significant. Like, okay, we made a difference in this girl's life.
Right.
And she made a difference in ours more than anything.
Right.
She was the biggest fighter that I had ever met. And so after that, I think that's kind of when stuff turned for us.
Right.
You asked like what kind of was the turning point. That probably was the big one. And so her mom was at the championship series, and so that's where Sunflower Saturdays started for the Gators. So now, but after that, we wore the sunflowers in our hair every day.
Yeah.
Because sunflowers, the yellow represents childhood cancer, brain cancer, and sunflowers were her favorite, Heather's.
Gotcha.
So that's where the sunflowers and the hair started. People are like, why are those girls wearing it? And I had to tell them, like, it's not something that's, we're doing this for like a reason.
Yeah.
It's not like a fashion statement. And it has ended up being like which is cool because the little girls liked it. But so after we won, after we made that last out, which it was hit back to Hannah, which is fitting, like a little dribbler back to Hannah, and she threw it to first.
Threw the glove up.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was so.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I just remember getting up from the dog pile and just like seeing my family and thinking like, this is it. This is what, like that feeling I will never, I never got back until like I had kids.
Right.
Like that's the type of feeling like you worked so hard for this. Like my parents, my family, they all worked so hard for this. And then I also looked up and saw Heather's mom, and she's just crying. Oh yeah. Because like
super
Heather
happy.
was like, she was there with us.
I was, I want to ask you this since I had Jacinto on. And I asked him, I don't know if you got to see that part, but did you see the thing about cup ball?
Oh yeah, Webster. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Dude, I had several people tell me like, "Geez, you brought back some good memories on that, bro."
Yeah. My biggest thing is the wall ball. Like we would get the little racket ball and throw it at the wall, and people don't realize how good that game was, man. Like you throw it, and if you don't get to the wall and get the heck out of there, you're getting lit up.
It's like pelted by a wasp or something.
Speaking of Webster ball and cup ball and all of that, I got to tell you a story. And this is probably why I ended up going to South Lake for baseball instead of South Sumter.
Okay.
So I was always that dude growing up. But I always played like all-star team. I was in the 9 and 10-year-old group that was the first to go to state from Webster since the 70s. But I was the only 9-year-old on the team with Travis Hutchison, I think. All the other people were older. It was Jordan Boyd, Ira Brown, Jared Fleming. Like it was the older kids that we played with. So, but every time I played ball, when it was my age group, I was one of the better guys. So my 13-year-old year is my 8th grade year, and I'm playing ball, and I get on this farmers market team for Dixie Boys, and it's Ira Brown, Jordan Boyd, Taryn Freeman. Man, I forget who all else was on it, but I didn't get to play much, and I'm 13. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm never gonna get to play ball. Yeah. Like I wasn't with the idea of being a backup or not a premium player at the time. I was like, I'm gonna hit the transfer portal,
but not get my reps.
The craziest story, right? Yeah, exactly. Craziest story. So we go to play South Lake during the regular season, and we play this yellow team. And what's funny is halfway through the season, I ended up being on that yellow team, but I swear to you, and all three of them will vouch for this to this day. It was the first time I've ever seen someone hit back-to-back home runs in a game twice.
Wow.
And we beat that. I was on the farmers market team then. We beat them 37-7.
Oh my
like
gosh.
In baseball. And they were just different, right? And so I went to move in with my dad later on in that season, and I said, hey, can I play all what's really cool, I finished the season with South Lake, but I had the option to play All-Stars with South Lake that year or All-Stars with Sumter County that year. And I ended up doing South Lake and just stayed over there.
Right.
And so it was them days, man, the Webster days were special.
Dude, I'm telling you, and it was a big to do. Like the kickoff, that was like, man,
You had to be there.
It was something you had to see, and like I was telling Coach Kinley, it's a lot has changed. My dad said they would take a day out of their week to go up there and prep those fields and stuff for all stars.
Yeah. Really, really quick, one more for you. This is great. So, as an umpire, I think back to the first time I ever saw anyone get ejected, and for me as a player, the funniest thing. You remember Dennis Johnson?
Oh yeah.
So Dennis,
he umpired our games.
Yeah, he's the umpire our games in Webster, and we're doing an all-star tournament. Dennis is umpiring, and we're playing like crap, dude. It's 8-year-old baseball. Wendell Gill is our coach, and Wendell's seen enough. You can hear Mark Gill out there under the tree. That's $1 million stop and a 2-cent throw. Like he just lighting them up from out there, right? Wendell's seen enough, so he lights up a cigarette in the third base coach's box, and Dennis dumped him for smoking a cigarette. And Wendell said, I swear to you, Wendell walked up to him and said, "If I would have known it was that easy, I would have left a long time ago."
Dude, and Dennis Johnson is the one who would smoke while he was umpiring.
He had
that shield, that big shield, and he's like, he'd have that with the ash hanging out. He's like, and you know what threw me off was I'll never forget this. When he would umpire, again, I didn't really know the game.
Yeah.
So I knew when he'd say strike, but then I'm like, is he going to say ball? So I would listen very carefully. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going deaf. Like, I thought I had a hearing loss because he would never say anything. I didn't know. If you don't say anything, it's a ball.
Yep.
But you're 7, 8 years old. You go, was that good or not? I don't know. What are we doing? Yeah. And but there was a couple of Webster had some characters, man. There was another guy, Tony Gator.
Yeah.
He would umpire. Yeah, he's a big dude, man.
Yeah.
And of course, Mike Foote. Mike Foote was.
I saw Mike about a month ago. I got to go to dinner with him. He came and watched me umpire a district championship game.
Okay.
And then we went to dinner afterwards. And love Mike, man. Great guy.
Yeah, we just went to his 50th anniversary. Him and his 50th wedding anniversary. Him and Judy. He's a cool guy. He's a special guy. And like I said, he's been there when I was playing T-ball, you know. Yeah. And T-ball, you gotta have a personality to have T-ball umpire. Yeah. Him and Ken Lynch. You know, they're just laughing. I mean, they had a front row seat to a comedy show. It was great. But we had some cats that would play, like Willie Craig. He could hit a home run. I'm like, dude, I don't even know how he hit a home run at that age, man. He just cranked it.
Dude, there's so many people that could have came out of here.
Oh, I know.
And Kendall Smith told it best to me whenever I first came into being an agent. And he said, Logan, growing up where you're from and knowing sports the way you know it, he said, this business is going to drive you crazy because you're going to see people playing on Sundays that need to be walking the streets and people walking the streets that should be in the league. Yeah. And it's so true,
and
man.
that's what, like, Carson had touched on that. He's like, dude, there's a guy that got drafted. He sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm better than him.
Yep.
And it's just about timing, man. It's about who you know, timing. You got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. Talent. Dude, I'm going to give a shout out to Justin Simmons, bro. Golly. I know he's going to be listening to this. Bro, you're the best. I'm telling you. God-given talent, bro.
Best player of any sport that I've ever seen. And to this day, I'll still say he's the best offensive player to ever play football is Hal Sumter, Jared Fleming.
Oh, yeah.
And
Jared was fast.
He was special, man. He is the best athlete that I've ever seen play in person.
And I don't know what happened at the Naval Academy, but that's a big deal to get invited to the Naval Academy.
Yeah, he was special, man.
Dude, I'd love to have him on.
Get him on. Jared, this is my shout out for you, bro. You got to come on, bro.
Jared, call the show, please. Text me, message. Find me on Facebook, Instagram.
Hey, I actually umpired a baseball game with him about 2 years ago. I was trying to get him into umpiring, and we got to do a game together. So that was a cool experience.
That's a little blast from the past.
There you go.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pinnasoffkee and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information.
Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it. Helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right.
You don't get people to do that anymore. Yeah. Keith Hyman took care of that field from South Upper High School for all those years. He didn't get no extra money for that. Yeah. He was out there doing it because he loved the kids.
That's right. Doing what he does.
And Danny was the same way. Yeah.
You know, a funny story about Keith. He was he always painted the field, and Keith wants to the way he wants it, just like anybody else wants. They want to do something, they want to do it right, and they want to do it the way they want to do it. So Keith would take that screwdriver, put it down, and string it across, and then when he got done with it, he'd just kind of pop it, and the thing would come out. Well, he said he was doing one thing, and he was done with it, and he started pulling on it. And that thing flew out and hit him in the jugular. Just shoot. He's like, I'm bleeding a little bit. But, I mean, you know, Dad, you're talking about how earlier, like, we talked about the baseball fields and stuff. I touched it with Coach Kenley and Boo Hart. Webster was a different ball game, literally, no pun intended. But it was a different place because I felt like people cared a little bit more. Parents cared a little bit more. And I said, no, not to say that parents don't care now. It's just I don't feel like they as many care. You know, there are still some. But there are still some, and more so, people that want to just drop their kids off like it's a babysitting service. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's school, you know? All right, kids, have fun. Just shove them out the door. Get out. I got to go. But no, I don't know.
Well, I put 20 years into Dixie Youth Baseball. I started before you guys even thought about playing baseball. You were still 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
And, of course, Jimmy wasn't here yet. But Danny McCoy asked me to stop by and check on Chuck Vorlbach's. He was coaching the team. He said, well, just stop by and just check it out, see if he needs any help. And that's how I got involved in it. I started helping Chuck.
He set you up.
He set me up.
That's how it always starts.
Yep.
Just help.
Yeah, you just
why don't you come out there and help?
See if he needs any help, but just go there and stop. So I did because of Danny McCoy. Danny's a faithful friend.
Yeah.
And I did look. The 20 years I put in there from you, your sister, and your brother. Those days are special to me. Your mother was involved in too. I mean, it was a family tradition to go and do what you had to do. Yeah. We rebuilt the field one time at Webster because we had a state tournament there, and we completely remodeled the field. Danny McCoy was out there by himself throwing sod in the outfield.
Yeah.
Raymond Berg, Ronnie Pitts. We all was out there working, picking the sod up and taking it there, and Danny by himself was throwing the sod in there.
Right.
That's not just a commitment. That's an honor system. And we had faith in we worked, but as soon as work was over with, we went out to the field and started it until dark. And none of us got an extra dime out of the whole project, but it was a satisfaction that, hey, we're going to have a nice field here for the state tournament, and we did. So.
Jimmy, do you have any memories of playing baseball in Webster or Center Hill?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, there's one that sticks out. Center Hill. We're practicing. I think it's 8-year-olds, Dad.
I don't recall.
And I don't remember who it was. I keep wanting to say it was Reason Rinker.
Reason Rinker
is goofing off or something. We're all goofing off.
He had a PlayStation playing, and we're out there with baseball practicing.
So Dad starts yelling at him, and over behind home plate across the street, there's this 2-story house, and this lady comes out of onto the top of the staircase and starts yelling, "Don't you yell at those kids like that!" And starts just yelling at Dad, and Dad just slowly turns around and he's, "Don't you make me come over there." And she ran inside and slammed the door. And never heard another word.
Gosh.
That's probably the only story from all those years of baseball that really sticks out. That, and I remember teaching Chris Dobson not to step out of the batter's box. Dad put a bat behind him. So
Which everybody does that.
yeah. So
That was not common back then. It was, now it's not uncommon.
But yeah, that's yeah. About it there.
That's funny. Dad, who's the best athlete? Or name a few athletes that you remember growing up watching, coaching baseball. Who'd you have as a?
Well, we start off with when you got in T-ball. I mean, Alan Shirley and Butch. I called him Butch.
Willie Craig.
Willie Craig. Willie Craig was a natural. I mean, this kid was 7 or 8 years old, whatever. Five to seven.
I want to say 5 to 7, yeah, because minor league was 8 years old.
Willie had never played baseball, but he could take a little orange soft baseball,
yeah, little orange T-balls.
yeah, and throw it from center field straight to the catcher like a lion. And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, we got something here." And he would get up the bat, and boom, it was over the fence just about every time.
Yeah.
And Alan was he was just a smart kid. He could, you tell him one thing, and he knew it.
Yeah.
And outstanding. You know, I think Alan went to the University of South Florida on a baseball scholarship.
Play catcher.
Yeah,
Catcher.
really good at it.
I always bring up Justin Simmons.
Justin Simmons was a
Thank
natural.
God. Yeah, golly.
That's just
Awesome.
he only had one problem. You don't want to listen to you, man. He could care less. Don't tell me how to throw a baseball. I know how to throw a baseball.
Justin, you didn't want to listen anyway.
But listen, I enjoyed those years, and the kids, which are grown adults now,
Yeah.
they're continuing on with their. Alan's a coach. His girls, he coached them softball for years.
Yep.
And I don't know about Butch. Well, where he ended up in Houston.
Tavares. He went to
Tavares,
Tavares, yeah.
But a great human
Yeah.
being.
I saw him one time. He was DJing. He was DJing AJ Bryant's wedding.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. That's been a while.
And that was before COVID happened. So, all that was great. I still had a full ride there. And I think that was the best decision I could have ever made. Because JUCO has 100% changed my perspective in sports. It has changed my outlook on, I guess, the division you play in. Because no matter where you play, it's always equal opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it was great. Like, I had the best 2 years playing at Florida Southwestern. Probably they were very competitive. They were very nitpicky. It was like a tight schedule I was on. I felt like I was at a D1 program, Right. I still had all the great experiences that I wanted to have going to college. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
that was Tampa, right?
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers. Okay. When you said Suncoast Arena, I'm thinking of the one that like near South Florida, though. The old Sun Dome they used to have.
Oh yes.
I thought it was something like that, but yeah, Fort Myers.
They have a Suncoast Credit Union.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Really, really nice area down there.
Yes, it was awesome. I loved it.
So before we get too much into that, what year did you graduate South Central High?
2020 COVID year.
Oh, the COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I remember that. It rained.
It rained at graduation.
It rained a little bit.
Yes, It did rain.
And
it was COVID.
And it was like it was like a drive-through car wash.
Yes, it was. Not.
That year was like, man, I feel so bad. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I think that just made you guys, like, your class a little bit more special. I know it sucked. Obviously,
I mean, even not even just seniors, but like look at the other things that your kids didn't get to do. Like 8th graders didn't get to do promotion, and 5th graders didn't do their graduation to go to middle school, and it was like everybody got robbed, you know, obviously, and not trying to take away from the grand scheme of things. I know it was awful, but it's just I felt bad for that class, because to me, my graduation night was it was special.
Like a core memory.
Yeah, you will never ever forget Miss Cloud, who used to be there. She told us. She said, she told us 2 things that I'll never forget. And she said we were all in the building. I believe it's the English building. We were all in the same building together. And she said, she got everybody's attention. She's like, I want everybody to do me a favor. I want you to look to your left, and I want you to look to your right. And I want you to get a good look at everybody, because this is the last time you will all be together in the same building. And like, I was like looking around and like reality check, just bam. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. She also said that tonight would be, like, besides you getting married and your kids being born, it's going to be one of the most important times of your life. And I absolutely agree with that. That's why you feel for the people that didn't get to do it, the way we always did it.
Like the tradition.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like you were the first class to be different. And in a way that's good. But in a way it's, who's to say the way you did it was the only way to do it? Y'all probably started something different. And the way that the world is now with videoing and stuff, I mean, when I graduated, you had to be there. I mean, we did have the closed circuit TV, but it wasn't like now. People could be at home now watching on YouTube.
Yep.
We didn't have that. You had to be in the lunchroom or the library. I do remember I had 2 extra tickets. I was out I was trying to scalp tickets. Like I got 2. I got 2. Who needs 2?
Yeah, that was one thing I'm glad I didn't have to worry about tickets, because it was kind of just like a walkthrough, you know.
Absolutely.
Anyone could come.
Absolutely.
Which was awesome. And I'm definitely not going to forget it, because it was so different.
Yeah, and then they really tried to make it as special as they could.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And so I mean, that's the way you got to look at it, You might have these expectations like this is what I had hoped it to be, or this is what I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't, so you're just like, you know what? We'll just make it our own thing. And I think that's special itself.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing to everyone, I think, was just walking across the stage and getting their diploma.
Absolutely,
and they made it happen.
That's a big goal for everybody.
Yes, 100%. Because, I mean, a small town, everybody wants to graduate high school. Right. It's very important.
Right.
Because, like, my mom and dad didn't graduate high school. They both got a GED. I mean, I think it was important for me to graduate. Yeah. And I know a lot of people feel that way as well.
And I understand different circumstances. Like we had a guy that his senior year, his dad got hurt. He had to go work for his family. There are circumstances out of your control, and he had to quit school. He had to do what he had to do for his family and provide. And to me, that just. Yeah, I did exactly what millions of people have done, but the fact that you stepped up and took care of your family was right. I mean, that's something special itself, So now you graduated. You decide that was your junior year. You said you got all the recruits, right? Or that recruiting trip that.
Yes. So
camp.
It was my junior year, but the summer after. So summer leading into my senior year was when I pretty much got all the looks and I got all, like, the offers and attention. It was very slow at first. I was getting a little worried. I was like, dang, this isn't what I expected. But I kind of, at the same time, was like, I haven't played for a year, so nobody knows who I am anymore. Right. I got to get my name out there. And we finally got a few schools to stick through, and it was awesome with Florida Southwestern. I took the offer, when I went down there for the camp, the following week I had a tournament, D9 tournament, so at Disney.
Gotcha.
And I did not know my coach was going to be there. And luckily, right timing, perfect timing, right place, right time.
Right.
I yoked a bomb over right field fence.
Oh, cool.
And my coach was there and she looks at me, my assistant coach, she's like, I'm so glad you got recruited. I was like, me too. And then she handed me a hat, so it was like really official, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's
that was a good memory. That was exciting because I was kind of in a hitting slump, and then all of a sudden I just like, bam, hit one. I mean, next at bat, I probably struck out, but the home run just felt great.
Well, you're always gonna try to swing for the fence to begin with, and yeah, I mean that's why you get to bat like 3 or 4 times a game.
Yes.
You know, you strike out. That's what I try to tell our kids. You know, I coached last year. That's 8 and 9 year old, 9 and 10-year-olds. And I would tell them, like, look, you strike out, who cares? It's all good. But they were so, like it was almost like the end of the world. I was like, you know how many times I've struck out?
Yes.
I mean, come on. I didn't cry. I'm like, we go back to the dugout and just try it again. It's like, it reminds me of how life is. You get up and you may not have a good day, but you get to do it again.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There are multiple times you get to. Each at bat is like you waking up.
Yeah, it's like
You
a
reset.
brand new opportunity.
Right, absolutely.
And you learn from the previous at bat.
Absolutely.
You're going to know what they're pitching you. I mean, obviously the pitcher is going to learn from you too. They're going to know what your weak pitch is, but you have to learn how to adjust and be able to hit that pitch.
Right.
Like, it's like vice versa. Like, the pitcher's learning something from you, but you're also learning something from the pitcher.
Right. Like I didn't know, you know, for softball, Kirsty was telling me about how, like, you know, obviously I knew the mechanics, the way you throw the ball. You can pitch a couple games in a row. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you know, overhand, you got to take 4 or 5 days off.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah. So
you're like, oh, we'll see one. You get one good pitcher in a series, and you're like, I ain't gonna see him again.
Yeah.
But softball, you could pitch as much as you want. And Coach Walton would do that. The little switcheroo, the old bait and switch, I call it. Yeah, we're gonna have her start, and then you know, a couple innings later, he's gonna pull out. It's like, you know, he's gonna use his.
Yeah, we had a very diverse staff. My year at UF, so he liked to switch us a lot.
Yeah,
we had basically Elizabeth Hightower and Lexi Delbury that were the starters, and then me, Natalie, and Riley and Haley would just kind of come in and shut it down from there, because the game of college softball is completely just taken off. Like, the hitters are so much better in the games, and I always say, since I've been done, I always said that I was going to have a meeting with all the umpires and be like, this little strike zone that you guys have created is so dangerous to the pitchers. Like, you're making us throw it so much more over the plate, such better pitchers to the hitters that, you know, it's a danger to us. We're going to get hit. Right. And then, you know, it's just, it sucks. It's a disadvantage to us. We can't throw those pitches that, you know, used to be strikes because you're not going to call them anymore. So the pitchers aren't, like, they can't go as long anymore because of that. I feel like the hitters have just gotten so much better, and there's so much more video and stuff now. Like, that plays such a role. We did so much scouting, like, it's insane. You don't think about the behind the scenes. We watch so many pitchers to be like, okay, this is what she's going to throw me, and, you know, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
I was gonna ask you. Do you have someone calling pitches for you, or is it you look at a coach, or you looking at the catcher?
So it was kind of both. At FGCU, we would, if I shook off a pitch that the coach was calling, then the catcher would call it, like, what I wanted to throw. And same thing at UF, but the pitching coach for the most part is calling the pitches back there, because they've scouted the hitter so much, so they know what their weaknesses are, they know what your strengths are. So, and
the count, whatever you got,
exactly, yeah.
What was your favorite pitch to throw?
Probably my turnover drop curve. It basically curved and dropped too. Is definitely like my bread and butter strikeout pitch.
I love that. I've never heard that before, and I love it. It sounds so cool.
Turnover drop curve.
Sounds like a bad Danish at a emo shop or something. That's the bad turnover.
whatever.
Drop curve.
Drop curve.
So funny.
So yeah, that's cool though. I mean, you it's cool that you're able to do that. It sounds like they give you a little bit of freedom to shake off.
Yeah, definitely.
Going back to that World Series.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said to say back to that World Series. I think it was the World Series, or might have been the game before that. Florida catcher, he throws a sign, and this was he had his glove and he was dropping it down, and he was motioning to hit the pitcher. Pitcher throws it right over the middle, and he goes. You could just see the disgust. And I tried to tell him,
right?
But they were showing how if he moved his glove like this, they were trying to pick him off. I mean, you think that's common sense, but nobody ever does that.
No, yeah.
And it's like this guy's like a 6-foot leadoff. He's like ready to go, and he's like, and then he's just turn and throw, and
so
the guy's picked up. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that only works a certain amount of times. Yeah. But it's a heads up play. It's smart. Different strategy, but yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, it was good having freedom for pitch calling. Like if I seen something that the coach wasn't necessarily seeing, like if they were kind of back in the box more, I was like, all right, I need to maybe throw a changeup or something here low and get him to chase it, ground it out or something. But both the coaches, like they always said, if you're gonna shake it off, you better throw what you want to throw, because if you are like timid and you kind of like, maybe I shouldn't do that, and you go to throw it and you leave it fat or something, you're that's on you. You did that. Yeah. So they're like, whatever you do, like be confident and throw it. Like so.
I told Zoe the same thing. I hate to repeat myself, but it's so funny because we're talking about pitches and stuff. There's a video of a little league, and the dad goes, "No, I'm sorry." Well, there's two different videos. One video, the dad goes, throw him the heat. He's behind the plate, he's doing the dad thing. Throw him the heat, and the son's the pitcher, and he throws it, and the kid goes yard. He goes, all right, don't throw him the heat. But the other one was this kid. It zoomed in on the kid's face, and he's looking down at the catcher, and the catcher gives him the sign. He goes, not this, shakes it off, and he does another sign. He goes, oh yeah, throws it, kid goes yard. But that's what, like you're saying, like you gotta be confident. You don't go, that maybe he should have thrown the one he shook off. Exactly. But it was funny because he said, oh yeah, this one's, you're about to go out. And
sometimes you just gotta tip your hat to the hitter, like they got you that pitch for sure.
It's a lot of give and take as a pitcher, because you're like,
you have to have a very short mindset. Like you have to just let stuff go. And that used to be a problem when I was younger. If I gave up a home run, I was like, man, like so mad. I was like, what could I have done different? Whatever. And then, for the next 2 or 3 batters, that's all my mind's on. And you have to let that go. Yeah. You have to move on very quickly.
That's why we tell our football kids, focus on the next play, because good or bad, doesn't matter. You score a touchdown, you can still lose the game. You can't be thinking about that touchdown you scored 30 minutes ago. We need to drive. We need to do now. You ever seen Ted Lasso? No? He's a coach, and he's a football coach, and he goes.
That does sound familiar.
He goes over to England and he coaches soccer club.
Okay.
Football, But they did it as a joke.
Yeah.
Because the owner wants to, like, kind of like Major League wants to drive them in the dirt, because her ex-husband is the owner, part owner. But anyways, one of the things he says is, do you know, or what animal has a 10-second memory? And it was a goldfish. So he said, be a goldfish.
Nice.
Just because.
I feel like I'm gonna look up a picture of him, because that name sounds so familiar.
He's got the mustache. It's Jason
I'm just not
Sudeikis.
Good with names, I guess.
Is it Jason Sudeikis? I think it is. But he's.
Oh, okay. That guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. But yeah, it's a lot of like little things like that. But one of the things he says is, be a goldfish. 10-second memory. Yeah. So if you ever see that quote, that's from Ted Lasso. But anyways, but yeah, that's a good thing to do, because you're so worried about that
and you are missing, that can also happen in life. You're stuck on one thing and you're missing all the other opportunities.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's a really important, skill and asset that I had to learn, and that pretty much all athletes should definitely take into effect. And like you said, everybody in everyday life.
Yeah. I think everybody gives. A lot of people don't realize how good failure is. Because, I mean,
you can always learn
you
from
always
something.
learn from it.
Even when you do something completely perfect, still learn from it.
There's always something.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing wear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors, and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709.
We try to, one of the things we have up in the weight room, one thing we teach our kids is, it means a lot to me. My daughters know, it's like the first Bible verse they learn, a lot of times like John 3:16 or something like that. But Proverbs 22:1, where it talks about having a good name. A good name is to be desired more than great riches. Favor is better than silver or gold. And, your name means something. It's the one thing people can't take from you. That is the most important thing about you is your name.
Right.
And you want it to be good.
Right.
You can get so much further in life with a good name. And so we teach our kids that, and we want them to understand that. You never know how somebody's going to help you 20 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
And we want that to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I like that verse.
Yeah.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say focus on the next play, and I was that's biblical. I didn't know that, but
it is. That's in South Sumter. That's South Sumter Bible.
I love it.
That's the first commandment in the South Sumter commandments.
Yes.
Commandment number 1.
Focus on the next play.
Hey, let me tell you an awesome story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, my daughter is at the middle school. Bad day. I can't remember why it was bad, but it was a bad day.
Yeah.
I was like, she called me upset. I was like, babe, I'll talk to you when you get home. So when we get home, I was like, babe, you gotta focus on the next play.
Yeah.
You gotta focus on tomorrow. Don't worry about what happened today.
Yeah.
I was like, that's rule number 1. Focus on the next play. And she's like, what? I was like, baby, everybody. I was like, hang on. So I get on my phone. I called Kendall Smith. I said, Kendall, I've got one question only. I don't want to say hello, goodbye, anything. I just need an answer. Okay. I was like, what's rule number 1? He says, focus on the next play. I was like, thank you, bye. Hung up. Get on the phone, call Keanu. Keanu, what's rule? I'm not going to say hello or anything. We're not talking here. What's rule number 1? He says, focus on the next play, coach. I was like, thank you. And I called 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they all gave the same, it's like, Kenzie, you just got to worry about tomorrow. And she felt a lot better.
Yeah.
But here's what's really cool. She's at school. I can't remember if it was Mackenzie or Samantha. They can tell you. They get flowers the next day at school. Keanu Neal sent them flowers.
Oh, man. That's
That was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, so, because and never had a bad day, that forgot about what happened the day before.
Yeah.
Was able to focus on the next one. And all because of different players that I had coached.
Right.
Was able to let my daughter know, focus on the next one. Don't worry about today.
Right.
Focus on tomorrow. Focus on the next one. And so that's cool.
I love that. I love that saying because it's not just about football.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's about life.
Absolutely.
And what I like about football is no matter what you do, good or bad, you have to focus on the next play.
Absolutely.
You can score and still lose. You don't always win by scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't harp on that one thing, and you can't harp on the bad thing either. You have to focus on the next play. And I instill that in anybody that want to hear me talk.
Yeah.
I will tell them the same thing, and I tell them exactly the same thing. It's not just on a field. It's life. It's part of life.
Yeah. I mean, you could take players from 20 years ago. Hey, what's rule number 1?
Yep.
I mean, it's on our board down there. Rule number 1.
Yeah.
They can tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They can all tell you. Rule number 1.
Yeah.
They can repeat it. I can. If an old player walks through the door or not, hey, what's rule number 1? They tell you.
Yeah.
And hopefully they remember that.
Oh, something that you'll never forget. I mean, and if you do, shame on you, I guess, because you've heard it so many times.
You can tell if a kid played at South Central. If a kid can tell you what rule number 1 is, they played at South Central. They can't tell you they didn't play.
They didn't play. That's right. That's right. That's funny. Yeah, that's a test. You're like, what was the rule? Oh, you didn't play.
Yeah, like I played at South. When did you play? Like back in 2003. All right, what's rule number 1? I don't remember.
You didn't play.
You didn't play.
If you went, you weren't there. You thought you played.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny though. I mean, but it's true. I mean, it's funny how it amazes me the little things in life like that, like something that simple. Focus on the next play.
Yeah.
It's not a paragraph.
No.
But it's so powerful that people don't.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a cool thing. But I also like our slogan. Tradition never graduates.
Love it.
I love that.
Yeah. That was a Mr. Edwards thing.
Yeah.
That came from Mr. Edwards, big Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
And I think at the time Kentucky Wildcat basketball was using it.
Oh,
or had used it back in the day.
Gotcha.
And Bob Edwards was like, I was like, dude,
yeah,
we'll start putting that on everything.
Yeah.
Put it on everything.
It is on everything. The murals, everything.
We try to put it on everything.
Oh, yeah.
And have for 25 years.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on our field.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
It's on our basketball court.
Oh, yeah. In the gym, I did see that, yeah.
Yeah. It's in our weight room. We don't have money. We have tradition.
Yeah.
And to me, that trumps money all the time.
I was going to say, I think that goes along. Yeah. That goes longer than.
And there's times when people stab at it.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
Well,
but it always comes back.
Tigo used to say they hate us because they ain't us. There's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. You hate on somebody, why? Because you're jealous. Yeah. I love that. You said Florida. Even though that one time you held that Florida Gator, that Gator head up over your head, and they took all them pictures of you, man. I still loved you, man.
So at the time, what's funny? So at the time,
was that at Florida State or was that?
That was in Tallahassee.
Okay, that's what.
Well, to give you Florida fans, I'm 1-3 against the Gators. At the time, when I was playing, they had Tim Tebow, the Pouncey Twins, right. Chris Rainey, Dallas Baker, Spikes. The list goes on of great athletes they had at the time, and We finally beat them boys. We finally beat them boys my senior year, but I think a lot of them was gone. So
was that when we had Josh Brantley at quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know. I know Tim Tebow had came out.
Yeah.
And
that was the year after he left.
He left, and then one of the Pouncey's twins stayed, and the other one he left.
Oh, okay.
And Hernandez was gone.
That's right.
A lot of that team was, they was.
That's that 08 championship team. That
And so we beat them, and the head trainer at the time looked at me. He said, "Kendall," he said, "I'm gonna make you famous." I said, "What you mean make me famous?" Well, I said, "What you talking about?" He said, "Just give me a second." So I was standing there, and he just came and rolled it. It's like they got it in this case. He rolled it, opened it up, and I said, "What?" And I'm like, "Why you choose me of all people?" But I was senior at the time and one of the leaders at the time, and gave it to me, and I just walked around the field holding it.
Yeah,
and it was pretty cool. Because the tradition behind it, the sheer fact that being from the state of Florida, I'm from Gator country. Something county is Gator country.
Yeah.
I came from I'll say probably Tampa, Bradenton, all the way up to about Lake City. That's Gator country. I-4, yeah.
Yep.
And it was the sheer fact that you got so much tradition behind the rivalries and to be a part of that, regardless of the fact that you post that picture, oh, that's my boy Kendall, or it's been times people that didn't even know that I played for Florida State, is this you or whatnot? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool or whatnot, but that was a good feeling.
Was that pre-planned, or was that was he's like, hey,
nah, he just
rolled the card out.
He just smoothly walked up to me and say, you I'm gonna make you famous, Kendall. I'm like, what you talking about? And he rolled it out and he gave it. It was so. I thought because I guess they were trying to figure out what senior to give it to.
Yeah.
And
that's cool though.
And then
that's an honor.
Yeah. And then once I gave it to another senior. He was able to
so you did pass it on.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But then after a while, they took that bad boy back in because they
didn't want nobody dunking that thing. Somebody ripped it out of your hands.
You let a fan get a hold of that, it's over. It's a wrap. So
it just goes up. Just there it goes.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, man.
So bowl games. You got a favorite bowl game you ever played in?
Well, my last bowl game was one of my favorite bowl games because not only because I had a good game, we played a good game as a defense or whatnot. And
who'd you play?
We played against South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And in the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta.
Okay.
It was crazy because I usually I'm always locked in and focused before games or whatever. And so me, being an idiot, I let my teammates talking to me into going out the night prior. And I was like, bro, I don't do this. And I'm tired, going into that game. But I had one of the best games I ever played in my life.
Wow.
Or not, just the sheer fact running the ball, making tackles or whatnot. And then we played against some good athletes at the time. Lattimore was the running back at the time. They had Alshon Jeffrey. If I'm not mistaken, at receiver at the time. Yeah. You had Stephon Gilmore on the defense at the time.
What's his face on there? Clowney? Or was there?
Clowney wasn't there at that time. But they had some solid players.
Steve Spurrier, the coach?
Steve Spurrier was not the coach at the time.
Okay, so this was after that.
He was after that. But
I gotcha.
I don't think Steve Spurrier was there at the time. Well, I could be wrong.
Because he was there when he played Urban, and they beat Urban in 05.
Okay.
So I didn't know.
Well, I just don't. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then I was. Huh? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got the fact checker. Your Highness is he's sharp. He's stat man.
He's sharp,
stats man.
But that was a memorable game. And Greg Reed had a hell of a game that game.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty cool that we went out with a bang that year. And that's that I always tell people because they always. And I don't got nothing against the SEC.
Yeah,
they always screaming out SEC football, and so I was like, well, shoot. In my years, other than losing to the Gators or whatever, but I think my sophomore year would be Alabama. I got my win against the Gator.
Yeah,
we beat South Carolina. So I'm like, I always tell people, well, at Florida State, we get the same recruits.
Yeah.
We just in the ACC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, me personally, I feel like it's a smart move. So, you get the recruits that the SEC got, but you beat up over everybody in the ACC, and then you put yourself in a situation where you can play in the national championship. Yeah. Some people, that's the soft way of going about it. Me, that's a smart way of going about it. Instead of being in the SEC, you're beating up on each other, and then
Yeah,
But
well, not every week. There's a couple teams. That, we'll leave them out.
But like I said, I never knocked the SEC or whatnot. But also, I feel like I could have played in the SEC, but I chose to go to Florida State.
Yeah.
But I knew for a fact I could thrive in the SEC as well. You know what I mean?
But you were also an FSU fan, so that's a dream come true. Man.
It's a dream come true.
I mean, I would do the same thing if that was my team when I had an opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not knocking the SEC, but they play ball, football. It ain't no different in the other conferences. So,
well, I try to be fair, and so every college team I try to pick even if I don't like them, I pick a guy that he may not be the flashiest guy, or he might be the flashiest guy, but besides you, I got another favorite Seminole. And that's Kenny Shaw. Oh, Kenny! I love me some Kenny Shaw.
Oh, Kenny
man.
Shaw, yeah, that's my boy, man. I had helped him out with a camp. It was 2 years ago. He had reached out to me, and he's doing good, man. He's do good for the community.
Yeah,
I know he played a couple years in Canada, but he does a really great job with the kids with his camps. He have a turnout it's amazing. He played with a lot of great players at Florida State.
Yeah.
So he'll have James come back. He'll have Kelvin Benjamin come back. He'll have Dalvin. He'll have all these guys come to Orlando. And even with he knew Dak through training at Tom Shaw.
Gotcha.
And he had Dak come out to the camp. And seeing how that turnout be and how hands-on he is with those kids, man, it's pretty good, I had to pick his brain to take some, because when it's get to the point where I need to go ahead and get me a camp going. I know your Highness always tell me like, Kendall, man, you need to get you a camp going.
Yeah,
I was like, well, Kiki, we help with Kiki. Can't say, nah, man, you need to get your camp going.
Yeah, that's funny.
And and
kids love going.
But the thing about it is, I'm the type of person, if I was the guy, if I'm gonna get the camp going, I'm still going. I want everybody as far as former players.
Yeah,
everybody, former players. I'm gonna try to get as many guys that I know that's either playing in the league or former players that they can come and help out, because it's not about us.
Right.
Obviously, it's about the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I can hit
absolutely
if it's 100 kids and if I can only reach out to 2 of them, I did my job.
Yeah.
Or not. And so he does a really, really, really good job with the way he go about constructing his camps, and he's trying to implement hard work into these kids. He preaches on education. He preaches on faith. He do a really, really good job.
Right.
Kenny Shaw. He was always one of my favorite young boys, because I was a senior. He was a freshman at the time, but he was always been very, very and he keep a energy about himself.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up part 2 of the Best of the Goblay Show. I would like to thank our sponsors for all their support, and you out there in the audience. I would love to just take the time to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't followed us on Spotify or hit that subscribe button on YouTube, guys, I really appreciate any support, and we're just going to keep doing this and get better every day. So until next time, we'll see you down the road.